Welcome back to Coffee Unlimited with J and D. I am super excited about today's topic of decluttering your space and how that can directly impact your state of mind, your cortisol levels. And I was so inspired. I'm here, of course, with my good friend and co-host Janelle Acker. And I was really inspired, Janelle, by your newsletter this Monday Mindset. I love reading those every Monday. And you had talked about this specifically about clearing the space. And what I also appreciated is that you talked about start small. Like you don't have to tackle your entire house at once or your entire apartment, but like maybe it's one drawer. And something I didn't know of was that how it impacts women even more with having this like cluttered space. So anyway, excited to be here with you and talk about this conversation. And if you can share a little bit more about the newsletter, what inspired you to write that, that would be great.
I would love to. And before I jump in, you probably notice a different background today. I'm calling in from Las Vegas and I'm in a hotel room. So we're here for a basketball tournament and we do this every Tuesday. So I brought my equipment and was ready to record with you. So that's why there is a bathtub behind me because I'm in the bathroom of this hotel room. But it's really nice to be here.
That's
and
a nice bathtub. I mean, that whole bathroom looks really nice.
It is. It's really nice. Yes. And you're absolutely right. So this week in my newsletter, I talked about decluttering my space. And I always write my newsletters the day of or the day before I send them out. So it's very timely. This is actually what I'm working on right now is a major declutter of my home and also my lifestyle. So we can talk about that more as well. But the reason why I chose to talk about this on this week was because I watched a couple YouTube videos last week and I linked them in the newsletter. So if you didn't watch them, I really recommend checking them out. And I watched two YouTube videos. One was about a woman who spent about a year doing a major declutter of her home, and she documented the process. So it was a time-lapsed video, and I really appreciated seeing how her space evolved over the year. And I appreciated the fact that it took her a year, because there are times where I think undertaking a declutter of my house is just too overwhelming and I don't know that I have enough time or enough focus to do it. But as she said, she was the one that recommended start small, even with one drawer. And you just start with one drawer, you take everything from that one drawer out, clean it, and then intentionally put items back in one at a time, and only the items that you use frequently or that are really important to you. And you find that you get rid of over half of the things, if not more. Mm-hmm. So I first watched her, and then I watched a second video of another woman, and she talked more. She even talked about the science behind clutter, I guess. And she was the one that mentioned I think it was a Stanford study that specifically studied women and clutter in their homes and linked the cortisol levels in women with the amount of clutter that they had. So women who indicated that they had clutter in their homes had higher levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. I know you understand the stress hormones and parasympathetic nervous system and things like that through mindfulness and everything. And when I heard her say that, it made a lot of sense, because when I reflected back on my life, when I sometimes felt overwhelmed or heightened levels of stress, I also noticed those were times where our home life was in disarray. And it could be from all of our stuff. We have 3 kids. We have a lot of stuff. There was a period where it was a lot of toys. Now it's a lot of clothes and skincare products. Like truly, like there's stuff everywhere in our house. And I really started to think about what is the life that I want. And when I say the life I want, it's how do I want to feel
Mm-hmm.
in my life? And for me, I'm at a point in my life where I want to feel free and I want to feel peaceful and content. And I think I always wanted that, but now it's even more so. And I do think that tackling the clutter in my home, even the clutter in my mind, but first and foremost, the physical clutter in my home, I think is the first step towards a more peaceful mind and a more peaceful life. So I started following a lot of the steps in the videos. I started with my work space, my work desk, and did it drawer by drawer. And then we went through my daughter's clothes. Actually, we went through my daughter's clothes a couple weeks ago. So we had already done that, but we are going to go through a lot more of our clothing items in our house. And we still have a lot more to go. But like that first video I talked about, it can take a year to do it really, really well, the way that maybe you want to do it. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay if it takes a year. It's okay if it only takes a week or two. But the important thing is to get to the place where you feel happy and content. And so that's why I embarked on it. And it's been really good so far. And I do think I might do a little bit of a challenge just to keep me motivated. Like have something that I'm ticking off, maybe, however many bags I take to a donation center, then I tick off something until I get to a certain point. I probably need to gamify it in some way to keep myself really motivated to do it, but I'm really excited to do it.
And are you starting to feel a little bit like less stressed in those areas that you've decluttered?
Immediately. Oh, yes. I
Okay.
immediately feel better. There's something about when I load up some bags in my car and I have a
Mm-hmm.
plan for where it's going to go and I take it to the place and I hand it over and people are so grateful. I take my women's anything of mine I take to a women's shelter, and then my husband's items I take to a men's shelter. And I know where two are. They're really close to my house, and they're always so grateful for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I even put in my newsletter, I had found I shop at Costco quite a bit, and I bought sunscreen for the summer, and it was I think a pack of 4 really big things of sunscreen. And I knew I didn't need that many. It would still be there in 3 years. It would still be in my house in 3 years. So I grabbed 2 of them and I took one to each place, and they were so happy to have that because they said they actually needed that. That is something that they often need and they don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels good to gift things, but it also just feels really good to lighten my own load. So I definitely feel a lift in my spirits and my outlook.
Mm-hmm. I didn't directly make that connection with cortisol and clutter, but I feel like anytime, so I would find a place to meditate, it would need to be a decluttered space. Just
Interesting.
organically. It was like, oh no,
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the TV room because there's just too much going on over here. There's too much stuff. There's too much mail on the desk. There's a TV here. Like, I want to find my spot where it's clear of clutter, because ultimately, like you were talking about, with we're activating that parasympathetic nervous system, going from the stress response to the rest and digest response. So I can really see that the clutter does contribute to that. And I'm grateful that you brought it up, because I don't think I directly made that impact or that
Yeah.
connection. Um, but it was
And
something that I would
then
feel. Yeah.
once we're heightened, once our stress response is heightened, then that spills over into so many other things in our
Mm-hmm.
life. How we talk with our family, how we respond at work. I just think that, to your point, maybe we don't always know where it's coming from, but if you have a cluttered space, it might be contributing to your reactions or your lower levels of patience.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's a lot of things. So if removing the clutter gives you a better chance to be in a more calmer state, then why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't
Right.
you want to be in a calmer state?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think I'm going to tackle my pantry. I did my fridge yesterday and it feels wonderful. I'm like, oh, things are out that are no longer serving me, even if they're not expired. It's just like I
Yeah.
want to clear things out, clean the
Yeah.
space up. Yeah.
Carl cleaned the fridge out. Was that yesterday or the day before? I think maybe the day before. And now that I think about it, I didn't say anything to him to do it. He also, I think he reaches a state where enough is enough.
Mhm.
But I think because I started a declutter process,
Yeah.
then it inspired him to do it as well. I think there's momentum in that. So he cleared out our fridge and I was really happy because that's another place where things can just be in there for a long time and they're just taking up space. And then you can't find what you want to find. You know that
Exactly.
feeling?
Yeah.
That feeling, I really don't like that feeling when
Yeah.
I'm looking for, let's say, not the fridge, but if I'm looking for a specific pair of shoes or if I'm looking for a specific top and I
Hmm.
can't find it because there's just too much to look through,
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling.
Well,
I
yeah,
really
so it's
don't.
kind of like decluttering and then having that space to then be able to organize, see things clearly, get to things
Yeah.
immediately.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, I feel like you've probably already been doing this, Danielle, because I've been in your workshops and some retreats of yours, and you always set the stage in those spaces
Hmm.
to keep our space free of clutter. And is that something that you always do? Is your house fairly clutter free?
I mean, don't look in drawers. So like when you come over, I know you're going to be coming over in the next couple of weeks
Hmm.
for a slumber party. Gonna have
Yes.
such a great time. So it'll look, well, I will be decluttering before you come too. But that's kind of my thing. It's like surface level.
Mm.
It looks clean. It looks like we don't have a lot of stuff. I mean, people usually come in and go, "Wow, there's so much space in your home," and that's what Scott and I both love. I don't like to have a lot of furniture or even things on the wall. I do prefer to have a decluttered space, but where I struggle is like the pantry or the closets. Although my closet is looking really good right now and it's all like color coordinated too. But I took several bags to the Salvation Army to donate. And it's a
Mhm.
work, it's constantly work to keep it decluttered and spacious. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think in terms of like the workshops and retreats, I always like to create this container of how we want to be together. Because usually there's, 20 people or 50 or sometimes hundreds of people sharing this space together. So I like to set the container from the start. Like, let's make sure that we are creating the environment that's most conducive for that experience. And it is usually around wellness or leadership or development. And if we've got all this junk around, it just doesn't, it like sucks the energy I feel out of the
Mm.
room. So even, I mean, like when you go into a yoga studio, a traditional yoga studio, not like a gym, when I go work out and I take these yoga classes at the gym that I'm a member of, there is no etiquette like that. So people walk in with their tennis shoes on to the yoga room and they start walking on the mats, which just irks me. Or they bring their bags. I mean, I saw a woman with her laptop on a yoga mat before the class started, and I just thought, "Oh my gosh, this should be a space where we come in for calm. Like once this
Mhm.
door opens, I want to breathe a deep exhale."
Mm.
And that's how I want my home to feel too, as I want it to feel like a sanctuary. So anytime I lead a retreat or a workshop, it's that same sort of feel that I want to create. And so people are coming in with their shoes. I mean, imagine doing cobra pose on the mat and you've got some guy's shoes right in front of you, in front of your face. Like, I don't think so. No. And
Oh my
I'm kind
goodness.
of a stickler. I mean, not kind of, let's get real. I am a stickler with that. Like at my retreats, when people, even if I say that, people will still bring their things close. And I'm like, move your things to the back or outside. There's a table specifically over there. And it's like they're so attached to having their things right there. And I'm like, no, no, no. We've got to clear this space. But
I I love the word sanctuary.
mm,
In fact, do you remember when we would do vision and goals at Lululemon?
mhm,
And we would go through this process of envisioning our a day in the life. You know, maybe it was 10 years in the future. And from when you wake up to when you go to sleep, you would write the whole scene out,
mhm,
how it all played out. I think this was probably 8 years ago or so. I wrote about making my bedroom a sanctuary. I wanted to have the way you described walking into a yoga studio and just exhaling and letting out a deep breath and being calm. That is what I want for my home and what I wanted for my bedroom, you know, to be able to walk
mhm.
into my bedroom because I find my bedroom is one of the harder places for me to keep clutter free and to keep clean in general.
Mm,
I can probably because not a lot of people come into my bedroom, so I know that not a lot of people will see it if it's messy. Whereas the kitchen or the dining room, might be coming in and out. But my bedroom, not many people come in. So there's clothes on the floor, the sink where, you know, in our bathroom where I get ready, there's just, you know, toothpaste stuff. It's just really messy and cluttered.
mhm.
And I hated that feeling of, you know, getting ready for bed and just feeling all this stuff around me that just felt messy.
Yeah.
And so I think I even used the word sanctuary, that I described my bedroom as being a sanctuary where it would have a smell like maybe like essential oils, and
Mhm.
the floor would be completely clear of anything. And the nightstand next to my bed would be just have maybe one book and one lamp,
Yes.
and my room is far from that right now. I mean, it's getting better because I have been working
Mhm.
on it, but I always have hair ties on my nightstand. I have pens. I have lots of different things. So I think I'm going to go back to that and maybe create a vision for myself. Because I do want to
Yeah.
talk about if we know that clutter is bad for us in terms of our nervous system,
Mhm.
and we want to move closer to a clutter-free life, how do we actually do it? And so I'm going to do a visioning exercise and gamify it a bit for myself. But what are things that you've learned along the way? Like what, you know, did your mom teach you, or, you know,
Mm.
how do you practice intentional living and keeping your space clutter-free?
I think so with my mom, I mean, she was really big on keeping the space clean, clutter-free as well, and she would say, like, especially the new year, you know,
Mm.
I know I wrote this in one of my newsletters a couple years ago called Osoji, and it's this Japanese tradition of cleaning. And it's just like what you were describing, taking the drawer out, dumping it out, getting all the items out, wiping it down and putting each one back in that you choose to keep. So it's a real deep clean. And that was something that she kind of ingrained in me every, like, we would start a couple months before New Year's and
Mm.
start to clear the clutter out. And, you know, like you were talking about clearing clutter out of your mind too, it was also more than just the physical space, but it was like, okay, make sure all of those bills are paid. So you're not going into the new year with that clutter in your mind, thinking about, oh, I've got to pay that bill, or I haven't resolved this issue. And even one time I remember I was dating this guy that, I mean, I can't even say I was dating him. It wasn't even that
Wait, did
serious.
you break up with him? Did you clear that clutter?
I did. Because my mom was like, I can't believe you're not going to break up with this guy. I'm like, okay, you're right. She's like, I can't believe you're going to move into the new year in this relationship that's going nowhere. I said, you're right, mommy.
Wow.
It's time. It's time to
Yeah.
cut this. Yeah. It's like nothing anyway. So yeah, it was like, I need
Wow.
to get rid of that. I mean,
It's
it
a fresh
wasn't,
start. It's a fresh
yeah,
start. The new year is a fresh start. I love it.
absolutely. So that was pretty much ingrained in me to be doing that on a regular basis. But I mean, I think about, how I feel when I go to a spa. For me, it's like I just want to create the spa environment in my house.
Yeah.
So, like in the bathroom, when I go to a spa, is there a toothbrush there? Is there a razor? No, unless it's in a really beautiful clear glass and it's there for everybody to take, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like there's a toothbrush or toothpaste or things like that on the countertops. So I wanted to create, there's flowers, there's essential oils, right? What is like the atmosphere that I want to create? And I knew it was spa like. So that's kind of my inspiration for the bathroom. And not that my bathroom always looks like that. It looks like that when I clean it.
So practically speaking, if we were to go into your bathroom, would the do you typically keep your countertop clear of anything and you just have some
Mm-hmm.
flower? Wow. See, I
Yeah.
want that. I want that. So do you, I could see you using drawers and whatnot, but do you also just not have that much stuff? Because I don't know that I could fit everything in my drawers in my bathroom. I don't
Well,
know.
maybe when you do that exercise that you've been talking about with the kitchen drawer and you
Yeah.
just keeping what you need and getting rid of that 3-year-old foundation,
Yes.
maybe there's a lot of stuff that you're going to be getting rid of in your bathroom, and you won't
Yes.
need as much space. But I do have a lot of drawers here. I mean, in California, I do have a specific area for my Dyson, which I wouldn't
Mhm.
have had in Vancouver. So I feel like just there's more space that we have now than we did previously. But yeah, I just like even my toothbrush, my tongue scraper, everything is
Mhm.
in like a top drawer, so I don't see it.
I love that. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna do that. Oh, you use a tongue scraper. I try to use a tongue scraper. It makes me gag. I just start gagging the minute I try to use it.
We don't
I
go
don't know.
that far. Like, maybe like you don't need to like go all the way back to your tonsils.
Maybe that's what I'm doing. I do think though I have a problem. Sometimes when I'm brushing my teeth, if I go for a really long time and
Yeah.
the suds, the bubbles and
Yeah.
everything, if it gets too much, I'll start gagging. It's just too much, and I'll be like, so maybe I just have a problem. I don't know, but I like the idea of a tongue scraper. I think that's a key component to oral hygiene. I don't
Mhm.
know how we started talking about. I don't know why I went further on the oral hygiene, but I love this idea of the bathroom countertop. I'm looking even in this hotel room. I'm looking over at the counter, and it's so cluttered over there with the sunscreen and the toothbrushes and the face wash.
Well, that's kind
So
of hard when you're in a hotel.
I guess, but oh yeah, there isn't a drawer. So yeah, there's no drawer over there.
Yeah.
But I do think my bathroom at home can use a lot of work. And my kids' bathroom, my
Hmm.
daughters specifically, they have all their skincare products. Like I said, they have a lot of skincare products. That's all on the countertop. And I just think that there's no way they can find what they need, and there's no way they can't even
Yeah.
set anything down in there. So that's something I think that'll make me feel a lot better if I could clear out the bathroom.
Hmm. And just have like
I
spa music going on when you take a
All the
bath,
time. Well,
dim the
that's a good
lights, right?
idea,
Yeah.
set the environment with essential oils. I we got Carl got me for Christmas Aesop, the Aesop
I
brand,
love that
their
brand.
room spray.
Yeah.
And he was saying, because I love candles and I love room sprays and things like that. And I tend to have many different ones going at the same time. So the kitchen might have one candle, a bathroom might have another candle, our bedroom will have another candle. So you walk through our house and you're taken to multiple locations around the world.
I like that.
Well, I like it too. But he had a good idea that maybe we get a signature scent like the Aesop room spray, and just our entire house just always smells like that for consistency. And
I
I
love it.
I think I'm going to try that. I think I'm going to do that. Just clear out the candles,
Yeah.
because then it's less things too. If I just have the one spray that I go around the house all and do the one spray, and I don't have candles all over the place on every surface,
This is going to
then
be like the Fairmont.
It is, yes.
It's like the signature scent.
Spritz the towels.
I'm so excited for you.
Spritz my, I don't know, my drawers.
Yeah, the
So
pillows.
the pillows. So that's one thing that I'm going to do. And then another thing I did write about this in the newsletter, we're implementing in our house the 1 in, 1 out rule.
Mm,
So I really want to stick to this, that anything that comes into, anytime we bring something into the house, something has to go at the same time. So if we're bringing one thing in, one thing has to go out of the house. If we're bringing 5 things in, 5 things have to go out of the house. And that even applies for food. I know that seems funny to do it for food because you're buying groceries all the time.
mm-hmm.
And what I found is there's always something that can be thrown out. That's food that we're not going to eat. That is only has crumbs left in the bottom of a box, so clearing those things out it makes space for the new food that is coming in.
Wow, that's something that I have never been able to do. That 1 in, 1 out, which I think is incredible. I would love to be able to do that. And maybe I'll think about it. I can't commit to doing that just yet.
Well, and if it's not needed, it's not needed. And it is all about what tools are most useful for your needs at any given time. And we definitely keep accumulating too much. So if we don't take things out, we'll get back to where we were after all of this decluttering. We'll be back to where we were if we're not careful.
Wow. Well, you've inspired me, Janelle. This conversation has inspired me to do more.
Well, thanks for sharing what you do, Danielle, and how you've kept your place the way, that makes you happy and clutter-free. I'm excited to visit you. I am excited to see your place and to be in your space, and we can maybe record some episodes together in the same room, which would be a real hoot.
Oh, so fun.
That's going to be really fun. But yeah, thanks to everyone who's tuned in. And hopefully, maybe this topic has inspired you to take a look at your own space, your own living space, your workspace, your car, whatever it is, wherever you spend your time, and see if there's anything that isn't serving you and maybe contributing to stress because it's there. And if so, then this is perhaps your invitation to see what you can get rid of and let go of. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you watch on YouTube, you can see our actual faces. If you're listening on the podcast, that's great too. And make sure you subscribe and follow so that you know when we launch our new episodes, which is every Wednesday. Help you get through the week. So thanks, Danielle, for a great conversation.
Thanks, Janelle.
I'll see you next week.